My girlfriend posted on Reddit, "My boyfriend isn't good enough for me, should I leave?" I didn't confront her. I just commented from my account, "Yes, you should. He deserves better." Then I packed her things. Her face when she realized her anonymous post wasn't so anonymous. I, 28 male, have been with my girlfriend 26 for almost 2 years. We've been living together in my apartment for the past 8 months. My name on the lease, my furniture, my everything. She moved in after her roommate situation fell apart suddenly, and I offered because, well, I loved her. Thought we were building something real together. Quick background. I'm a software developer at a decent company. Not making crazy money, but comfortable. Around $78 a year. I drive a Honda Civic because it's paid off and reliable. Been driving it since college, and it just keeps going. I don't wear designer clothes or expensive watches. I spend my free time playing video games with online friends, watching movies, cooking, and occasionally going out for drinks with people from work. Pretty normal guy stuff. I've never claimed to be extraordinary. She works in marketing at a mid-size firm, makes about $52, has student loans she's been chipping away at, car payment on a Mazda she can barely afford, and expensive taste in everything from her morning latte to her wardrobe. I've never judged her for any of it. Different people value different things. I figured we'd balance each other out eventually. Her ambition, my stability. Last Tuesday night, she fell asleep on the couch while I was finishing up some work in the bedroom. Her phone was charging on the coffee table, and it kept buzzing with Reddit notifications. The screen would light up every few minutes. Normally I wouldn't look. I'm genuinely not that guy who snoops, but the preview on one notification caught my eye as I walked past to get water. Great advice. You definitely deserve someone who matches your ambition. Something about that phrasing made my stomach tighten. I know I shouldn't have, but something in my gut told me to look. She uses the same phone password for everything, her birthday backward, super original. I opened Reddit. What I found made my stomach drop through the floor. She had posted in a relationship advice subreddit 3 hours earlier. The title was, "My boyfriend, 28M, isn't good enough for me. Should I leave or try to change him?" The post itself was brutal. I'll summarize the highlights because I don't think I can type the whole thing without feeling sick again. I've been with my boyfriend for almost 2 years, and I'm starting to realize he's not the man I thought he was. He makes decent money but has zero ambition to climb higher. When I ask about promotions, he says he's happy where he is. He drives an old car when he could easily afford better. It's embarrassing when we park next to other people. He'd rather play video games until midnight than take me to nice restaurants or plan romantic dates. I've tried dropping hints about wanting nicer things, better lifestyle, but he seems totally content being mediocre. Meanwhile, my coworker has been showing interest, and he's everything my boyfriend isn't. Ambitious, well-dressed, drives a BMW, talks about his 5-year plan. Last week, he took me to lunch and made me feel like a queen for the first time in months. I feel like I'm wasting my prime years on someone who will never give me the life I deserve. Should I leave before I'm too deep in, or is there hope he'll change? Over 200 comments by the time I found it, most of them validating her, telling her she deserves better, telling her to secure your future with someone who matches your energy, calling me a man-child for playing video games. A few comments calling out the shallow thinking, but they got downvoted to oblivion. I sat there on the couch for maybe 20 minutes, just staring at the screen, reading the comments, reading her replies to comments where she added more details. 2 years, 8 months of sharing a home, supporting her through job stress, family drama, her anxiety about student loans. And this is what she really thought of me. Not good enough, mediocre, embarrassing, a waste of her prime years. I didn't wake her up, didn't confront her while emotions were hot. Instead, I did something that probably makes me petty, but I genuinely don't care anymore. I logged into my own Reddit account, one I've had for 6 years. Decent karma, pretty active in gaming and tech subreddits. I found her post, and I commented. Yes, you should leave. Speaking as someone who sounds a lot like your boyfriend, he deserves better than a partner who views him as a stepping stone to something greater. He's clearly content and happy with his life, which is more than most people can say. You're not compatible. You want someone to impress your friends, and he wants someone who appreciates him for who he is. Do him a favor and end it so he can find someone who actually values stability and contentment. Don't waste more of his time. Then I went to bed. She was still asleep on the couch. I locked the bedroom door for the first time since she moved in. Wednesday morning, I woke up before my alarm. Couldn't sleep anyway. She was still passed out on the couch. Girl can sleep through absolutely anything, including the destruction of a 2-year relationship apparently. I started packing her stuff. Quietly, methodically. All her clothes from the closet, her toiletries from the bathroom cabinet, her books from the shelf she'd claimed, her random decorative items she'd added to my apartment over the months. I grabbed boxes from the storage unit in the basement. Took me about 3 hours to get everything sorted and packed. When she finally woke up around 10 a.m., she was working from home that day, she wandered into the bedroom, rubbing her eyes, hair a mess, clearly expecting a normal Wednesday. "Babe, what's going on? Why are there boxes everywhere?" I was sitting on the edge of the bed, calm as could be. I'd had all night and all morning to process this. No tears, no yelling, just cold clarity about what needed to happen. "You're moving out." "What? What are you talking about?" She actually laughed, like I was joking. I pulled up her Reddit post on my phone, showed it to her, watched the color drain from her face in real time. It was like watching a computer crash, that moment of frozen panic, right before the blue screen of death. How did you find that?" "Your phone was buzzing with notifications all night. Doesn't matter how I found it. I read it, all of it, including your replies to comments where you talked about how your coworker took you to lunch last week and made you feel like a queen. Ring any bells?" She started stammering, brain clearly scrambling for an excuse. "It's not what it looks like. I was just venting. Everyone vents online. It doesn't mean anything. Venting is my boyfriend leaves his socks on the floor, or he snores sometimes. What you wrote was a detailed explanation of why I'm not good enough for you and how you've got a potential replacement already lined up. I don't have a replacement. The coworker thing is nothing. He's just nice to me." You literally wrote, and I quote, "He's everything my boyfriend isn't." That's not nothing. That's a comparison, an unfavorable one. She tried a different approach. Tears started flowing. "Baby, please, I love you. I was just having a moment of doubt. Everyone has doubts sometimes. It didn't mean anything. Sure, but not everyone broadcasts those doubts to thousands of strangers while calling their partner mediocre and ambitionless and embarrassing." I stood up. "Your stuff is packed. Your brother lives 20 minutes away. I suggest you call him. You can't just kick me out. I live here." "You're not on the lease. You don't pay rent. You insisted on contributing through groceries and half the utilities instead, remember? Said it made more sense financially. You have no legal claim to this apartment whatsoever. That's not fair." "Fair? You want to talk about fair?" I actually laughed, but there was zero humor in it. "You've been using my apartment as a comfortable home base while you shopped around for an upgrade, comparing me to some sales guy with a BMW. Now you found out the launch window closed. That seems pretty fair to me." She went from sad to angry in about 3 seconds flat. "You're being absolutely ridiculous. It was just a stupid post online. You're going to throw away 2 years over some words on the internet?" Those words on the internet were your real thoughts, the stuff you actually think but never say to my face because you knew how it would sound. And yeah, I'm going to throw away a relationship with someone who secretly thinks I'm beneath her. I'd rather be single than be someone's disappointment. I never said you were beneath me. Not good enough. Mediocre. Wasting my prime years. Embarrassing. Want me to keep quoting? I took screenshots. She had no response to that. Just stood there with tears running down her face and nothing left to say. "Your brother. Call him. You have until 5 p.m. to get everything out." I grabbed my laptop and left the apartment, went to a coffee shop downtown, worked from there for the rest of the day. Needed to not be in that space while she figured out her exit strategy. At 4:43 p.m. I got a text from her. "I'm out. Can't believe you're doing this. You'll regret it." Narrator voice. I did not regret it. Update 1. 5 days later. So, the fallout has been interesting, to put it mildly. First, she didn't just quietly accept the breakup and move on with her life. That would have been too easy and too mature. Thursday morning, I woke up to a text from her best friend. A woman I'd met maybe 4 times total at group dinners and parties, who always looked at me like I was something unpleasant stuck to the bottom of her designer shoe. You're a piece of garbage. She was way too good for you anyway. Enjoy being alone forever, loser. I didn't respond. Blocked the number immediately. Wasn't worth the energy. Then came the calls from her mother. 3 of them throughout Thursday. I ignored the first 2 because I didn't have the bandwidth for that conversation, but I answered the third one figuring ignoring it was just delaying the inevitable. What did you do to my daughter? She's absolutely devastated. She's been crying for 2 days straight. Ma'am, I ended the relationship after discovering your daughter posted publicly online about how I wasn't good enough for her and how she was interested in a coworker. That's not. She said you kicked her out over nothing. Over some misunderstanding. Over nothing. Interesting. That's one way to frame it. Ask her to show you the Reddit post. The actual post, not her summary of it. Silence on the other end. Then slowly, what post? Ask her. If she's honest with you, she'll show you exactly what she wrote. If she's not honest, well, that tells you something too about who you raised. I hung up. Probably rude, but I was past caring about politeness at that point. 2 hours later, I got another call from the mother. This one had a very different tone, quieter, more uncertain. She showed me. I read the whole thing. I don't know what to say. You don't need to say anything. What happened is between me and her. We're done. And that's final. She says she didn't mean any of it, that she was just frustrated and venting and ma'am, I respectfully don't care what she says now that she got caught. She meant every word when she wrote it. She took time to compose that post. She replied to comments for hours, adding more details. The fact that she got caught and faces consequences doesn't change what she actually thinks of me. Maybe you could work through this. Couples counseling? Therapy? Every relationship has rough patches. No, we couldn't work through this, because even if I somehow forgave the post, I'd spend the rest of our relationship knowing it's how she really sees me. Mediocre, not good enough, embarrassing, and I refuse to spend my life with someone who feels that way about me. I deserve better than that. She didn't have a response. We ended the call awkwardly. Friday evening, my now ex-girlfriend showed up at my apartment door, unannounced. I opened it, but kept the security chain on. What do you want? Can we please just talk, like adults, without you hiding behind a chain like I'm dangerous? We talked on Wednesday. You left. That was the end of it. You kicked me out. You didn't give me any chance to explain. I asked you to leave an apartment you had no legal right to be in after discovering you'd been trashing me online to strangers and emotionally entertaining another guy. That's not kicking out. That's consequences arriving. I wasn't entertaining anyone. The coworker thing was all in my head. I never acted on it. Cool story, you still called me mediocre. Still said I wasn't good enough for you. Still asked strangers whether you should dump me. The coworker is honestly the least offensive part of the whole thing. It's the contempt that kills me. She started crying again, mascara running. I made a mistake. One stupid mistake when I was feeling insecure. You're really going to end everything we built over one mistake? It wasn't one momentary mistake. It was a detailed, thought-out post that you actively engaged with for hours. You replied to comments. You elaborated on your complaints. You added specifics about the lunch with your coworker. That's not a mistake. That's a decision you made over and over again. People say things they don't mean when they're frustrated and feeling unappreciated. What were you frustrated about, specifically? Tell me exactly what I did wrong. She hesitated, clearly not having expected to be put on the spot. I don't know. I just felt like we were stuck in place while everyone else was moving forward. Stuck how? We went to that Italian restaurant you loved last week. We watched that movie you'd been wanting to see. We were actively planning a trip to the coast next month. I'd already started looking at Airbnbs. What exactly were we stuck on? It's hard to explain. It's more of a feeling. Try, because I genuinely don't understand. You don't get it. All my friends are getting engaged, buying houses, getting promoted, leveling up their whole lives. And we're just here, the same apartment, the same routines, the same everything. In my nice apartment that I pay for entirely while you chip in for groceries, driving my reliable paid-off car whenever yours is in the shop, which is often, using my Netflix, my internet, my furniture, my everything. We're stuck in a pretty comfortable life that you've been heavily benefiting from while you quietly shopped around for something better. She wiped her eyes angrily. That's not fair. I contribute. Life's not fair. You taught me that lesson this week pretty effectively. So that's really it? You're not even gonna try to work through this? 2 years, gone? Nope, because I deserve someone who thinks I'm enough exactly as I am, not someone who's settling and resenting me until something shinier comes along. I'm done. I closed the door on her, heard her crying in the hallway for a few minutes before her footsteps finally retreated. Update 2. 2 weeks later. Things escalated in ways I genuinely didn't anticipate. After the hallway confrontation, she went quiet for about 4 days. I thought maybe she'd finally accepted reality and decided to move on with her life. How naive of me. Monday of the second week, I started getting texts from numbers I didn't recognize. Random area codes, clearly people from her social circle. Heard you dumped her over a Reddit post? That's genuinely psycho behavior, dude. She's so much better off without you. Controlling much? Going through someone's phone and reading their private thoughts is literally abusive, BW. She'd been telling people her version of events, that I was controlling and emotionally abusive for going through her phone and overreacting to what was essentially a private journal entry. Framing the Reddit post as a private journal was pretty creative spin, I'll give her that. I didn't engage with any of the random texts, just blocked each number and moved on. No point arguing with strangers who only had half the story and no interest in the full truth. But then her brother called me. Now this was different. Quick context. I actually liked her brother. He's a decent guy, a couple years younger than her, and we'd genuinely gotten along at family events and holidays. He'd helped me move some heavy furniture into the apartment once, refused to let me pay him, just wanted pizza and beer. Good dude. Hey man, I know things are crazy right now. I just want to hear your side of everything before I make any judgments. I appreciated that he asked instead of assuming, so I told him everything. The post, the exact content, what she wrote about the coworker, my comment asking her to leave, all of it. Long pause on his end. Then, she showed me the post. She said it was taken out of context and you were overreacting. There's no context that makes my boyfriend isn't good enough for me acceptable to write publicly. There's no context for calling someone mediocre or saying you're wasting your prime years with them or that parking next to other cars is embarrassing. What context could possibly make that okay? Another long pause. Yeah, I don't have an answer for that. She's my sister, you know? I'm supposed to have her back. I understand. Family's family. You're not in the middle of this, and I'm not asking you to pick sides. But you asked for my perspective, so that's what happened. For what it's worth, I always thought you were good for her, stable and reliable when she needed it. She's never been great at appreciating stable. Thanks, man. Genuinely. Take care of yourself. We hung up on decent terms. At least one person in her family had the integrity to hear both sides. But here's where things got unexpectedly interesting. Wednesday of week 2, I got a LinkedIn notification. Someone had viewed my professional profile. I checked who. Mostly out of curiosity, her coworker, the BMW guy, the ambitious one with the 5-year plan who made her feel like a queen at lunch. I'm not gonna lie, I was curious enough to click through. So I looked at his profile. Regional Sales Manager. Nice corporate title. Lots of business buzzwords in his summary about synergy and growth mindset. Picture of him in a tailored suit looking exactly like the type of guy she apparently wanted. Then I noticed something in his activity feed. He'd posted something publicly earlier that day. Excited to announce I'm relocating to the East Coast office effective next month. New city, new opportunities, new chapter. Sometimes you have to chase the next big thing. He was leaving. Moving across the country. The guy she'd been fantasizing about as her upgrade. The one who was everything her boyfriend isn't. Gone. Off to chase his own ambitions 3,000 miles away. I screenshot it and almost sent it to her out of pure pettiness. My thumb hovered over the share button for a solid 30 seconds. But then I didn't. Why would I? She wasn't my problem anymore. Let her find out on her own when he disappears from the office one day. Which she apparently did, because 6 days later, she texted me at 11:34 p.m. I know you saw the LinkedIn thing. Go ahead and gloat. I know you want to. I genuinely hadn't told anyone about it, or even thought about it much since that day. But she assumed I was tracking her work drama like it was my Netflix show. I replied, I honestly don't know what you're talking about. I'm not following your coworker on LinkedIn. Why would I? But it sounds like something interesting happened. Don't play dumb with me. He's moving. The whole thing was in my head anyway. It was never going to actually happen. Okay, I'm not sure why you're telling me this at midnight. We're broken up. Because I thought you'd want to throw it in my face, rub it in that my upgrade is leaving. Why would I waste energy on that? We're not together anymore. Your work drama isn't my concern. Hasn't been for 2 weeks. You're so cold. You really don't care at all anymore? I've moved on. There's a difference between cold and healed. She didn't respond after that. I muted the conversation and went to sleep. Update 3, 5 weeks later. Final. Time for the final update, because I'm genuinely ready to close this chapter of my life completely. The month after the breakup was a slow, sometimes painful return to normal, with some developments I didn't see coming. First, the narrative she'd been spinning to mutual friends started falling apart on its own. Turns out, when you tell people your ex went through your phone and overreacted to a private journal entry, eventually someone gets curious and asks follow-up questions. Like, what did the journal entry actually say? Her best friend, the one who texted me calling me garbage, apparently got curious enough to ask to see the actual journal entry. I know this because her brother reached out again about 3 weeks post-breakup. Hey, just wanted to give you a heads up on something. Her friend saw the actual post. Read the whole thing, including all the comments and her replies. She's not talking to my sister anymore. What happened exactly? I guess she read the whole thread, the part about the coworker taking her to lunch and making her feel like a queen while she was supposedly in a committed relationship with you. Her friend didn't know about any of that. Apparently, emotional cheating crosses a line even for her ride-or-die friend group. Interesting how the truth has a way of coming out. Yeah, my sister's pretty isolated right now. Mom's disappointed and keeps lecturing her. I'm honestly not talking to her much either because I don't know what to say. Her friend group is fractured down the middle. It's not pretty. I'm not saying this to make you feel bad or to gloat. I just thought you'd want to know that the truth actually came out and people know what really happened. Appreciate you telling me. Genuinely. You handled this whole thing better than most people would have. That's all. I didn't feel victorious hearing any of that. Just tired. The whole situation was completely exhausting and I was ready for it to be over. The coworker situation resolved itself in the most anticlimactic way possible. He moved to the East Coast office as planned, probably excited about his new chapter and completely oblivious to the workplace drama he'd accidentally sparked. She never told him how she felt, never made any kind of move, nothing came of it. The fantasy she'd been nurturing while living in my apartment and eating my groceries just evaporated the moment reality intervened. He probably still has no idea she'd been daydreaming about him as her upgrade. About 4 weeks after the breakup, she tried one final time. Not a confrontation at my door or an angry text. Just a long email that landed in my inbox at 2:47 a.m. The gist of it? She'd been doing a lot of thinking and some painful self-reflection. She realized she'd been unfair to me and unfair to our relationship. She got caught up in comparing us to what she saw on social media, her friends' engagement photos and house buying announcements, and carefully curated highlight reels of perfect relationships. She knew she'd hurt badly, and she was genuinely sorry for all of it. She didn't ask to get back together. Just said she hoped I could eventually forgive her, even if we never spoke again, and that she understood completely if I couldn't or didn't want to. I read it twice. I didn't respond for 2 full days because I genuinely wasn't sure what to say or if I should say anything at all. Eventually, I sent back something short and honest. I appreciate you acknowledging what actually happened instead of continuing to spin it. I hope you figure out what you actually want from life and relationships, because the grass isn't always greener somewhere else, and the person right in front of you might be exactly what you need even if they don't match some imaginary checklist. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just done. Good luck with everything. She replied, "Thank you for even responding. I know I don't deserve that kindness." And that was the end of it. As for me, I'm doing okay. Not great, not terrible, just okay, which honestly feels like progress. The apartment feels different without her stuff everywhere. Quieter, but also more peaceful. I rearranged the furniture, got some new art for the walls, bought a plant, reclaiming my piece by piece. I'm not dating yet. Don't feel emotionally ready for it. Still processing the whole experience of having someone you love secretly think you're not good enough. My therapist, I started seeing one, seemed like the healthy move after all this, says, that's completely normal. Trust takes time to rebuild, especially when it's trust in your own judgment about people. The Reddit comment I left on her post, it ended up being one of the top voted comments before the mods locked the thread. Someone even gave it gold and platinum. The post itself got locked eventually after it apparently got cross-posted somewhere, and things got heated in the comments. The irony isn't lost on me that our whole relationship ended the same way she tried to crowdsource advice about it, with strangers on the internet weighing in with their opinions. Here's what I learned from all this. 1. People tell you who they really are if you actually pay attention. The small complaints, the comparisons to others, the just venting that happens to always be negative, it all means something. I should have noticed she was never fully satisfied with me or our life way before that post made it explicit. 2. Being enough isn't about salary numbers or car brands or visible ambition metrics that impress other people. It's about finding someone who genuinely appreciates you for who you actually are. Contentment and all. I was happy with my life. She made me feel like that happiness was somehow a character flaw. It's not. Contentment is actually pretty rare and valuable. 3. Anonymous doesn't mean consequence-free. The internet creates this illusion of privacy and separation from real life, but the things you post reveal who you really are when you think no one important is watching. She thought she was venting to sympathetic strangers. She was actually broadcasting her true feelings to the one person who most needed to hear them. I don't hate her. I don't actively wish her harm. I hope she figures herself out and finds whatever she's actually looking for. But I also don't miss her. And that tells me everything I need to know about whether ending things was the right decision. My comment on her original post is probably still up there somewhere in the archive thread. Yes, you should leave. He deserves better. Turns out I was absolutely right about that. More great content is coming. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out.